We've all felt that thing where you don't want to say hi or wave at a person because you are scared that he or she might not respond or might respond in a way you don't like, which is what our 45th episode is going to be hovering around, why it feels risky to say hi. And with me here is OKK Favor. Great to have you on the show, man.
All right, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
And as introduced, I am Okeke Favor, and it's a pleasure to be here.
Good. Now let's get right into it. First of all, Favor, have you felt that thing where you don't want to tell a person you know hi or wave at the person?
I would be honest, I would say everybody has felt that, but since it's a personal question, yes, I have felt maybe I should say hi, maybe I should wave at this person, even when I do not know them, and I apparently did not.
You did not.
Yes.
What triggered it?
Um, I tell myself things like, you know what, I'm not scared of anybody, or I do not, um, I'm not the type that is shy, but in the actual truth, I am a very, very, very reserved, not like really, really reserved, but I'm that person who it will take a lot for me to say hi, especially when I know there is no mutual ground or there is no specific reason as to saying hi. Because one, I could walk up and say hi, hello, and then probably you're not interested or you give a very, very bad look, or there are a lot of things basically go on
Yeah,
in my mind.
yeah,
So sometimes not saying hi or just allowing it to go, since you did not recognize, since you didn't acknowledge me, then why should I be the one to acknowledge first? Not for pride, but I just feel like it's a feel safe way for me.
yeah. It's more of like fear of rejection.
Rejection, no, because quote unquote, I've never been rejected. I've never been rejected,
Okay.
but then I'll put it in a way that I am scared of how you would probably see my approach
Yeah,
to you as a person. Probably you see it as, oh, he's one of those kids who would probably want to mess around. That is if he's an adult,
yeah.
or probably if it's within my age grade, probably they would feel okay, all right, and you're trying to rub on me the inferiority complex, trying to make me the lesser person, and
Mhm.
I am not that kind of person. So I won't say rejection. It's just something that runs in my mind, that how would this person see me less than I am or more than I am. So sometimes it's always the less than I am that comes into my mind. So I prefer not to say hello and just keep it cool. And probably you walk up and say hi, then I'll now say hi. That's how I see it.
Yeah, I mean, I've gone through this thing a lot. This thing of not wanting to say hi, not wanting to wave because of the whole fear of rejection and all those things. But I studied it and I observed it, and my answer boiled down to this one single thing. I don't know if it applies to everyone, but I'm sure it applies to me, which is fear of uncertainty, right? Like,
Uncertainty, you mean?
like when I mean uncertainty, I mean like not knowing how the person will respond. For me, that is the reason why I hardly ever approach people, because I might call it fear of rejection or fear of, but like the core or the main thing there is I fear not knowing how it will turn out.
Mm.
And that is the same reason why I'm scared of, venturing into something that is not guaranteed, like getting a certificate after 5 years after school, because it is uncertain. But at the end of the day, it's the most uncertain things that end up paying the most. So I feel uncertainty, and what I do is I'm gradually training my mind to, like, kind of get accustomed to that uncertainty, get accustomed to that fear. Because at the end of the day, yes, sometimes you might wave at someone, or you might say, "Hey, how far, chairman?" Also, all these things. It has happened to me plenty times. So like, you just pass, you just pass. So for me, it's just I train myself to not greet for expectation of your response, but greeting because I know that it builds me as a person. So greeting someone is more like a selfish motive
Mm.
than, I'm trying to like rub on you or stuff like that. Because at the end of the day, if you reply, good. If you don't, it's still good because it helped me grow and become a better version of myself.
Um, that point is valid.
Mm.
But for me, I have this principle whereby I tell close friends around me, and I'd be like, great people you know.
Greet people you know.
Yes, great people you know. You see, um I have this thing whereby when I, due to the fact that I have this humor, this social appearance to a little extent because I'm not celeb yet.
Mm.
Sometimes I'm taking a walk with friends and then it is alpha and a guy, this and that. And then most times, most of the people I whisper to my friend, I don't even know who this person is. Sometimes I'm just whispering to them, I can't remember where I met them. Okay, I used to have this issue whereby someone will walk up to me and be like, guy, how far now? What's up? And then I'm replying, but I'm squinting my eyes to reply. And then the person gets the memo that okay, he obviously does not remember. And I'm like,
Mm.
okay, I actually do not remember. Not like I don't know you, but could you please reintroduce? And then I will promise to not forget. And many a time people pick offense. People be like, what is he even feeling like? You're not even a celeb, something like that. So I now carved that rule for myself. Greet people you know, exchange pleasantries with people you know. I mean, it helps because you would relieve yourself of some certain things that maybe you you do not want or you would not have wanted. Do
Mm.
you understand? So it makes it easier, and easier in the sense of when you walk up to somebody you know and
Yeah.
then you say hello, it only helps the conversation go better. But when someone I do not know walks up to me and then says hello, in my mind, I'm trying to wrap up the conversation so I can excuse the person because in my mind, I'm like, what do I actually want to discuss with this person on grounds that I do not know you? I am more comfortable with people I know, so it makes conversation better. But then when someone I do not know says hi to me, I'm thinking of, okay, hi, hello, take care of yourself, bye, and that's it. So there is nothing more to discuss in my mind. There is nothing more to say in my mind. There is nothing more to engage this person with. So I'd rather dismiss you than have a conversation. That's for me. And it stems from an overtime fear
Mm.
of um I don't, just as you mentioned something, I don't know how people perceive me. These days there are so many hearsays and you don't want to have a conversation with somebody and then the next thing you're hearing is, oh, it was even him that said this XYZ to me. It was that person many years ago that said this and this. I'm someone that I'm quite I don't like being put on the spotlight.
Yeah.
Sometimes whenever I'm in a particular place and someone I did not know say something and then the next thing you say is, I remember when you said, in my mind, I'm like, just kill me already. What do you mean you remember what I said? I don't
Mm.
even know when I said what I
And you
said.
don't know, yeah.
So in my mind, I feel like things like this will only happen when you have conversations with people. So it's better not to say hello. So you will not be put in the spotlight, quoted, or probably somebody will now lie to you and say, you were the one who did this, you were the one who said that maybe a couple of months ago, last week, 10
Yeah.
years, all this kind of thing. So it stems from a place of just day your day and the fear of if you talk now you go cast. That's the way I see it. That's why sometimes not saying hello sometimes just saves you, not for now, but I see it as a thing of the future.
Wow, I really love that point. But as you were talking, I was just like calculating in my head, and what you said was really valid. Greet people you know. But the truth is that everybody you know, they once started from people you don't know, right? Like, believe me, I would have like, easily gone with what you said. But I'm like, I'm a very reserved person, right? I'm a very, very reserved person. And I understand that people skills and communication and all these things, they are very, very important skills in life. And it's something that I want to build, even if deep down I don't want to like put myself out there and all those things, but it's something that I want to build. And I could just easily go with this, oh, great people, But I mean, at the end of the day, everybody once started from a person that you don't know. So if you continue to manage and keep only the group of people you know, and let's say eventually this one travels and then that one goes somewhere, and then you just be like left with a group of people that you don't know, right? So I feel like yes, the rule applies, but you should also sometimes make out time to talk once in a while to people you don't know, to people who maybe just like for me, one of the reasons why I started this podcast is to hear what people have upstairs, because everybody's like a brain box of ideas and dreams and opinions and all those things. So it just sometimes people have what to say. Maybe just if you learn how to approach, how to move and flow and all these things. I feel like yes, that one is actually much more better than greeting people. Only greeting people you know. I don't know what you think.
Do you know what is more better?
Well,
What is more better is, you see, the thing is this, yeah, people are wired differently.
mm,
You will not tell an extreme introvert to start socializing or to start making friends. Not because he doesn't want to, but because he was not wired that way, or he's not wired that way. He believes in just that small circle of people. And probably this small circle could be family and then neighbors if he lives around and all that. Nothing you would say that would actually break those set of people. Nothing, no message you will preach would change them because they believe that less is more. And that's actually the point. Less is more. When you stick around some certain persons you've grown with over time, when you stick around some certain persons you've bonded with over time, to me, I feel like it becomes more burdensome to create yet another friendship. It's just like growing up with a burden and then adding another burden. I have this very, very, very close friend of mine who we schooled in this university together and all that.
mm,
Best believe we rarely talk. We could go months without talking, like texting or calling or whatever. But the day we finally decide to call or text, it takes forever till we both hang up. And I am someone that people around me know I hate calls and I don't like lengthy voice notes. But when I want to get on a call with my very good friend, my very close friend from childhood, I don't mind staying on call for an hour, 2 hours. Still, we basically have nothing to say. And it's just a once in a blue moon something. And
mm.
after that, I know that we won't have this kind of lengthy call again. Not that the call was too much, but the person I'm having the call with is somebody that I am comfortable staying longer time with on call because I know it's not an everyday kind of thing. That's the same thing about friendship and bonds. You don't just expect somebody to start up the same thing that before now had broken them, had built them, had made them cry, had made them happy, and then you want them to start the same thing with another person in the guise of hi. One thing about friendship is that friendship tells you to be prepared for the worst, but you're coming from the worst with somebody else, maybe a friend or a relationship, and then you want to enter into another worst with another person in the name of building. You could save yourself that stress and be alone, if you ask me. So, but I mean, the cliche of go out, socialize, network, your friend is this, your helper is there, your all of that is there. True and fine. I do not debate that, but I feel like, you know, there are times and there are seasons for everything. As we grow, we find the need to network and we find a need to have friends. I can have networks that are not necessarily my friends. They're just people I have their contacts and I just once in a while say hello to. But I will not treat a friend like I treat a network. I'll treat a friend like family, somebody I literally call and I'm okay with. That's the way I see it. So sometimes I would rather not start that conversation, not because I don't want to, but because I have understood, okay, this is this person's persona, this is who this person is, and this is where I met the person. So I would view your story if you save my number and keep up with you when I can, but I will not treat you like a best friend I've been with from my childhood because I do not see the possibility of that ever happening. Not that we won't talk, not that okay, if there be a need I won't, but then I don't want to start a conversation that would burden me and make me feel captured. So sometimes less is actually more. Having few friends but having networks is quite okay. And I stand to be corrected that two of them are different. You can have networks that are not necessarily different, and you can have friends who might not necessarily be your network too.
Wow, I really love the point. When you were talking, I was thinking about our conversation yesterday. When you asked me why I didn't go for dinner, why I didn't go for my dinner night.
And we all know why you didn't go for the dinner. You probably did not have money for transport.
Honestly, one of the reasons why I didn't go for dinner is because like it just has to do with everything you said right now about not wanting to talk to people, something like that. Like I'll just close my eyes and visualize myself there sitting down, let's say close to a girl maybe that I've never ever talked to before, and then I'll now be in this boat that I'll be forced to talk to the person. What I believe is that if you eventually do talk to that person, it helps you become a better version of yourself, right? I do understand that less is more. I do understand that, yeah, of course. Believe me when I understand the power of having few friends than having like hundreds and none of them are there for you. I understand, but like I mean sometimes, especially for someone like me, or someone like but people that fall under my category of reserved type of people who actually need to communicate more. I feel like communicating more is a door of self-improvement. Like you said, people are wired different ways. All right, let's use the introverted guy you said as example. Yes, I mean I do understand that the guy is introverted and the guy is, he hardly talks to people, but at the end of the day, talking to people will build him more than he knows. Yes, in as much as he was wired that way. In fact, personally, I don't believe that people are wired. I believe that it's just the choices you make that compound, and then you tend to think that, oh, this is how I am, something like that. Though sometimes people will see themselves not always talking to people, and then they'll say that it's how they are. But I don't think it's necessarily how you are. First of all, I think it's what you told yourself that you are, which stands to be corrected, and it's just something that, like, I don't know if you get my point. Though. It's just something that, like, it can be solved. It does not necessarily have to be how you are. Some people that are scared of rejection, some people that are scared of approaching a new conversation, some people that are scared of uncertainty, they will hide under this some of these quotes like don't talk much and things like that. But at the end of the day, they're not doing it for the sake of doing it. They're doing it because they are, like, deep down within them, they are scared. And it takes a huge amount of self-awareness to actually admit to yourself that, okay, the reason why I'm not saying hi to this person sitting next to me is not because I'm this or I'm that or I'm that. It's just because I am scared. Right? I feel like that honesty, everyone needs to have it. Like everyone needs to have that honesty with themselves. Personally, I'm very, very honest with myself. I like when I am scared of talking to somebody, I tell myself that the reason why I'm not talking to this person is I am scared. I don't say it's because, um because I'm trying to do this, and I know that I have few set of friends and this one and that one. For me, it's just you have to be honest with yourself and tell yourself the real reason why you're not saying hi. If it ends up to be something like being scared, like myself now, it's something that I'm actively working on. And one thing that I do is I don't tie my reply, I don't tie my conversations to someone else's response. So I can say how far and you not reply to me, but it won't hurt me as much as it would, because like I said, I won't like base my conversation on your reply. I'll just see it as a means for myself to grow. So something like that. Yeah, I feel like in as much as some people call themselves introverts, like I said, call themselves not, it's not who they are, it's just what they call themselves. Some people call themselves intro. I feel like socializing more and getting to know more people, like there are literally 7 billion people on the planet. I'm not saying you should get to know all of them, but like I'm saying, like, in this short life that we have, I feel like you should step outside, try and say hi to some people. Some people might snub you, some conversations might not go the way you want, but I feel like it's better off than just sitting in your shell and saying that, oh, this is who I am.
All right. I'll take the conversation this way. I love how it is now being taken. So I will put you as the protagonist and the antagonist at this point, and I'm agitating for the people that says yes, it's actually a risk to say hi. You see, let's let's digress a bit. When Jesus wanted to convert water to wine,
Mm,
before that time, they came to the mother and telling him a whole lot of things, and then the mother said, anything he says, just do. And then when this was before she had gone to meet her son, and then the response he gave her was, my time has not yet come. Every breaking, like every shift takes time.
Mm.
You do not tell me to start talking to people when I never saw the need to at some point in my life or for a long time in my life. I might have been broken, hurt by these same people I trusted. One thing I say to myself was a long time ago, and people around me know how so addicted I am to my phone. And you would always see me with my phone 247, even when I'm not busy. I just want to be on my phone because I prefer using my phone than talking to people. There was this time I was with a friend of mine, and then it was a group work, but they were all working in the group, and I was just there. I was just isolated with my phone. I mean, we were done with the work.
Mm.
So, but then they just still went on and we're just catching up and all of that. So I just stood one side with my phone. And then she came, she told me, she was like, why are you not joining the comps? I said, but we are done with the group talk now. So I don't think I should still be there. And then she looked, she said, I've noticed something that you're always on your phone 247. What's the problem? Were you hurt? What's the problem? How did this stem from? What's the problem? And my response was a smile. I mean, my response to her was just a smile because it's a long talk. You see, I believe so much in socializing growing up. I believe I had this humor of I would always give a laugh, a shining teeth, a welcoming arm, and everything up until I got to understand that the same set of people you had run through walls for would definitely shoot at you, and sometimes it becomes a thing of you're doing too much at some point in your life, and sometimes it becomes a thing of, do these people you're doing this thing to, do they really matter that much? All these lessons dawned on me, and then it reshaped me that, okay, look, less is actually more. You can sieve off some certain persons and just build yourself. And in all honesty, you don't need a crowd to build yourself. You just need
Yeah.
to find yourself to build yourself. And finding yourself sometimes might come in solitude, might require you to be introverted, might require you to take a break from the world and just go to a particular place and just ask yourself some certain questions. And then when you begin to ask yourself these questions, you find out that you gave too much of yourself trying to socialize while the real you was hidden by trying to meet new people. So you were basking on the thought of, oh, you know what, the only way to make it is by socializing. But the only real way to make it is by asking yourself unanswered questions. You've not really sat down to tell yourself the truth. You've not really sat down to understand your strength and your weakness. Your reason for being what you are is based on people's response. I see people who will be like, you know what, can I talk to you for a bit? Ask my friend that you are. And then you hear questions like, tell me a few things you've noticed about me. And then those ones begin to tell them what they feel, not the truth. And then some of them now base who they are on the responses of those friends, which are sometimes false. So you will now go home and begin to think what your friend has said truly defines you. But you've not sat down to actually understand whether those things they were saying were the things that you were using to be a bigger person to them. So they are pointing it out as your weakness because they want to still be greater than you. So sometimes keeping it simple, keeping it personal, keeping it on your own helps you to understand yourself. And I come from the school of thought also whereby if you are disciplined, if you are comported, if you are reserved, sometimes it only attracts what you need. Economics tells us about need and want. When you become too open, too social, you only attract what you want. But when you are disciplined, when you're cultured, when you stay on your lane and respect yourself, you attract what you need. And we both know that according to the scale, the rule of preference, needs come before want. I mean, I've been to gatherings whereby I was seated alone, I was just on my own mood, listening and taking note. And then I'd the end of the event, I was just casually walking home, and then sometimes people will be like, "Oh, hi, hello, what's the name?" And I'm like, "Okay, my name is XYZ," and then they introduce themselves. They're like, "Oh, I love how you were paying apt attention and this, that, and can we exchange number?" I'm like, "Okay, cool," but inside of me, I know I will not text the person, and I'm not
Mm.
expecting the person to text me back. It's for me, it's for me discipline. Not like I could not text the person back, but sometimes I feel like, let me just see how this will go. If the person texts and now understand, okay, I could take the person serious. So I was it was in primary school one time when one of the janitors in my school then said to me, said, when you smile too much, people don't take you serious. Yes. And this is something that I ran with all my life, primary, secondary, and even till now. When you're always keeping the happy face, when you're always smiling, when you're always the easygoing, the accessible type, people will not literally take you serious because they feel like you are just that maybe option E or option F because they will not see weighty matters and come and give to you. But the moment you're reserved, comported, respectful, and you're just by yourself, they see you in a different light. That, oh, probably he has something upstairs. And then when they come to engage you, they give you the respect. And I also read somewhere that when you talk less, it saves you time to listen. And when you listen, you can judge the level of intelligence the person you are talking to has. So, but when both of you are having a conversation and you're just talking and you're talking and talking, you're sharing wisdom, you find out that you become empty. So silence helps you to learn. Silence helps you to observe. Silence helps you to be the better person. So when everybody's talking and then you're just listening, you're just observing and paying up attention, it helps you to be more intellectually powerful than whoever it is that would be talking to you. So I would say that sometimes not saying a word or just keeping it the way it should be helps you to gain respect to these people. Because when you're the type that they see, oh, he's everywhere, he knows this person, he knows that person, he knows this person, they will not bring weighty matters to you. They will not see you as that valuable. They would just see you as just a random. But the moment you respect yourself, you stay cool, you paying apt attention, you have good posture, you're seated well, you correctly dressed, decently smelling nice and all that, you would see how they would want to come and know you. So sometimes not saying hi is not because of fear per se, but I would say that it's just you trying to keep that high level of prestige that you came out with and you're not ready to exchange for penury or prejudice or probably mediocrity.
Wow. Very valid points. Very, very valid points. I mean, like you outrightly stated, you're the antagonist and I'm the protagonist. But very, very valid points, though. Very valid points. But I would like to point out something, and it's the difference between being reserved and smiling too much.
Okay.
Right? I mean, you can like everything you said was very, very, very true. But it's not meeting like with the context of what we are actually arguing it on, right?
Okay.
Like, yes, listening is a very, very important skill.
Okay.
Like, it's something that I even had to like force myself to accept because when you hear skills, like let's say top 10 skills that a person, especially a man, needs, and you see listening as one of them, it sounds very stupid but listening is actually a very powerful skill. And I do agree. And I do agree that you need to be reserved. And I do agree that when you're not always pushing yourself out there, you attract what you need and what you don't want, and not what you want. But being reserved does not mean like you can be reserved
Say hi.
and still say hi. Like I'm a very reserved person, but I have a podcast. I feel like it's one thing that many people like are confused of about me. That like how can somebody as quiet as this guy be running a podcast?
Mm.
So it's not necessarily the same. It's not necessarily the same thing. It doesn't. Of course, if you smile too much, people are going to take it for granted. Of course, if you're always available, I mean, in economics, scarcity increases value and scarcity increases demand,
Yeah.
right? So if you're always there, of course, nobody's going to value you. Of course, nobody's going to. You're not going to be in high demand, right? But you can be all those things while still being a reserved guy. It's a very very tricky and dangerous game to play, but sometimes I don't always believe in choosing,
Mm.
right? I don't always believe in choosing. It's one of my values. If you can't choose between two things, just merge the two of them together. And I've applied this thing countless times, more times than I can count, right? So rather than choosing between being reserved and being social, I feel like you can just like merge it. But merging these two things is going to be like not necessarily
Let me.
difficult. Eh?
Okay, I wanted to say something. I wanted you to end your point.
Say what you want to say.
You see, the topic is the risks of saying hi,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Now, do you believe that sometimes starting a conversation is better off avoiding it? Sometimes it's best to have just avoided the conversation. Sorry? Sometimes it's best to actually avoid the conversation that's starting it on two things. Number one, um, in the long run, the person you start a conversation with also has value over you as much as you have value over the person. Do we agree? So sometimes when you start a conversation, I believe that before you start any conversation with anybody, there should be like a prior knowledge of who the person is. That is, you should maybe through a friend know who the person is, or probably you must have seen the person before, seen how they act or something. And then you tell yourself, starting a conversation with this person, knowing who this person is it really worth it? But then again, maybe you guys have not met, you don't know who this person is, and maybe the person just walks up to you somewhere, or maybe you saw this person and then for the sake of youthfulness, you got attracted to the person, and then the issue now is saying hi. I feel like saying hi to the person, and maybe you've seen the person you want to talk to, maybe she's properly dressed,
Mm.
smelling nice, hair done, nails done, everything, and then the issue is probably on a casual wear, and then you are looking at yourself, looking at the person, should you or should you not say hi? Best believe don't say hi. Yes, don't say hi, because at some point the thought of being big, it's not just a thought, it's something people wear. There's a way you'll be so elegantly dressed, you have in mind that you don't want to take anything from anybody. The only set of people that should talk to you are people that are probably equally dressed as you or highly dressed as you. And then there is you who is probably still building. There is you who is probably still going through a phase. It's not a competition kind of thing. You know yourself so well. You know who you are. You understand the readings of your process. If you understand that this person, this is not the right time for me to talk with this person. Oh, yes, there were days whereby I fell in love with somebody that I know that it was not the right time. I fought for it, but then it was beyond me.
Mhm.
And then I had to let it go, because at every effort I made, it was always glaring that look, this person is above you. You're doing too much. You're pouring water in a basket. The more I tried to sustain it, the more it left me. That was because at that phase she was, and no, not even she was, she is actually, at a higher level. I was still finding my feet. I was still, still young and naive and stupid. Honestly speaking. And it was more painful because I now had to devote that attention just to this person, making every other person that came around me invalid. But then imagine if I did not even pay attention and just, what would be, you're good on your own, I'm not bad on myself too, so everybody do okay. The highest I could do is hi, hello, and that's all. That's if at all it even comes up, because you will have every right to walk past somebody without saying hi. So imagine if I had not given that attention and I just, just probably focus on other things, focus on other people, it would have been better for me. I would have not had myself hurt the way I was as at that time. But I was hurt.
Can I ask a question?
Okay.
Okay, let's fast forward back to my Sunday, just the Sunday that passed. I think I told you though. I went for my cousin's daughter 1 year old birthday.
No, you didn't tell me.
Okay, now I'm telling you. And I was inside this guy's parlor, right? Guests were seated. Some young guys like around my age and stuff like that were also seated. And everybody was pressing their phone, right? Every single body, like everybody's head was down. I'm telling you that, like, guy, like, it disgusted me. Like, honestly speaking, like, it disgusted me. Like, aren't you seeing this thing? Like, people are no longer talking again. People, like, human beings no longer talk again because of phone. And like, and at the end of the day, sometimes it's not that they don't want to talk. It's just that there's this thing that says that people always choose the road of least resistance, right? So it's easier to be on your phone than to
Yeah.
actually put yourself out there
Yes.
and stand the risk of rejection. So now I want to ask you now, would you say that kind of scenario now, like, is a good thing?
It's a perfect thing.
Wow.
That's the best thing you can do to yourself. What is, you see, I tell anybody that wants to listen, anything you want to say, send it as a text. I will see it if I want to see it. I don't need to talk to you about it. Except if I really want to talk to you about, maybe it has gotten to me here, or maybe I just feel like, you know what, let me just say my mind. I would literally watch you act in the weirdest way and not say a word, because it doesn't. What do you want to make it? What is there to talk about? What, like, what do you like? Oh shit! Tell me what. So me and you now sit down and talk about what? That's the first thing that comes to my mind. So sometimes when somebody tells me I feel we need to talk, I'll be like, what do you want to talk about? Like, it's already an irritation when I hear like, let's talk, because I'm like, what is that I have not heard? Why do you want to just imprison me and make me subject to anything you are saying? That's me. So, but normally when I want to have conversations, like serious conversations with people, I turn off my data if it's needed. I mean, people that I know, that I really talk to, know this as a fact. When I want to have conversations with somebody I want to have conversations with, I turn off my phone and I seize the person's on to say, you're done talking. And I tell people that thing that makes me put my phone down means I value you as a person, not even what we are talking about. Because I might down the whole conversation and take a walk. Yes, I can. But whatever it is that will have made me put my phone, I tell people this, whatever that it is that will have made me put my phone down for even a split second to talk with you, it shows respect and value towards the person I'm talking to, because I really do that shit. Sorry, but I really do that. So most times it's always a thing of, what do you actually want to say? There was a time I was also texting a friend, and then he left the chat at some point. So when he came back, he said, oh, that a couple of his friends came in, and then the memo was nobody should be on their phone. And I'm like, oh, happy for you. Can never be me. I would always touch my phone. It's because I feel like there is actually nothing to say. What do you want to tell me that I've probably not heard, maybe? Or what is that thing that you want to say that is worth putting down my phone to talk with you? Why? Why? That's for me, that's the question. So, and already there's always an agitation, there's already an irritation, like, why should I talk? Why must you hear me talk? Why must we talk? What you won't follow me talk? Why are we even having a conversation? What is there? Everything is trending. You can go to the news, so Twitter, X, or Instagram, and read and update yourself about anything you want. We don't need to talk about it when you can read about it. So there are conversations that are better off avoided. Don't, because at some point when you begin to talk, and I'm someone that I read emotions so well. I read people's texts in terms of tone, and I overthink. Yes. So sometimes I am seeing what you are saying, and sometimes it's misinterpreted, even though that's not the point the person's trying to make. But I'm reading it and I'm like, are you saying that to me? Is something well? Are you well? That's why sometimes I prefer not to talk. And I don't like having, sometimes I just don't want to have conversations. Most times I don't want to have conversations, because in the long run, it's now my own fault because I have now visioned or I have now seen this person's message in another light. Maybe that was not the person's intention, but because of my overtime stigma to having conversation with people and the torment that's brought to me, sometimes I am best left alone. So I don't want to talk. I don't want to hear you. I don't want you to talk to me either. And that's just it. So yeah, it's the best thing they did by not talking to themselves. I mean, just come there, say your hellos, eat rice, give gift if you want, and take a leave. Take a
Have
leave.
you heard of social atrophy?
Social.
Atrophy.
No.
Okay. I'm sure you've heard something of if you don't use it, you lose it,
Yes.
right? This thing applies to like our like it's just like let's say you wrap your hand for like 2 years. Like if you don't use the hand for 2 years, eventually you lose that hand. And you know that man is a social being, right? Social atrophy is one of the things that when I heard of it in a podcast, Diary of a CEO, Esther Perel. She was talking about it. And this thing scared me because she was like, naturally, man is a social being. Like man is a social being. Now, what is happening in this current era that we are in now is people are no longer using that social part of themselves, and they are losing it. And she went as far as like saying how this thing destroys relationships, marriages in the long run. Like she compared us, like the current generation now, to people in the 90s when where like people had to talk to each other. Now like you don't even need to talk to anybody, right? Because you can go a whole day without like actually exchanging words with anybody. You can order food from your phone, and you can just do everything from your phone, right? And that thing now, low key, is killing us.
It has not killed. It
No,
has helped.
no. See, look at, like, it is killing us. Like, listen, remember they say that man is a social being. It's not what we want to be. It is what we are.
That's a study from somebody. Did God say man is a social being?
Man is a social being.
That's a study from somebody that postulated that to you and then you believed it too. You are who you are. You're not antisocial, social, or whatever. You're who you are. It was still the same way that say nobody is introverted. That is just what people say to themselves. So somebody coming up to tell you man is a social being, that was just his theory. I could
No.
choose to not say hello to you because I have the right to. I could choose to stay off my phone and still not talk because I have the right to.
Okay.
It's not a matter of someone's theory coming to pass or not coming to pass.
Okay, look at it's not like look, just watch this thing with me now. Like I don't even know who said it, but if you watch it with me now, you see that, okay, like how we came about, our ancestors, our forefathers now, they didn't have an option when it came to talking with another person. You couldn't be alive in the time of Jesus and say that you want to go a whole day without talking, because going a whole day without talking means going a whole day without eating, going a whole day without doing some essential type of things, right? So it's not like I don't even know who said it, but if you look at it, man is a social being. It's not like we're not coming into this era where technology is now like doing some kind of things, and it's now making us to no longer be what we are meant to be.
Let me tell you something. Are you downplaying the effort of technology now?
I am not downplaying
Good.
the effort, but I'm also looking at the downside.
Are you then postulating that technology should be phased out?
No, it should not be phased
Of
out.
course. So now everything has evolved because there was a need to. Then it was not just about communicating to one another, it was about communicating to relative far from one another. So if it was difficult for me to talk to my friend in Lagos in the old, they created a phone. If it was easier for me to discuss with my friend close to me, they still created the phone. Because if I want you in my place, I could still call you and say, you know what, can you pull up on my place? Let's just sit, gist, all those kind of things. It's still the technology helped in many ways. So if your point is that people now got too addicted to the phone or to the modernization, and it has now become an excuse for minding your business. Maybe people are now using addiction to whatever gadget they have as a thing of minding their business. You should now ask yourself questions like, the conversation we've been having before I got addicted, how well did he build me? How well did he make me? What did I learn? How better did I become? And vis-a-vis the person too. You should also ask yourself things like, okay, all the conversations you've had, how many were sincere with the conversation? How many truly meant what they said? You see, we are going to put everything together. We're going to put emotions, we're going to put value, we're going to put everything together. There are times people will be talking to you and then they're looking at something else and having this conversation with you. Some of them are lying to you. Some of them are not being honest. Some of them are just trying to tear you down and make you less of yourself. So many conversations that were had broke people. 80 to 90%, I want, this is not fact. 80 to 90% of people depressed today are people who had long conversations with people. Although I'm not putting it out there as a fact, but most of the people who are depressed, they're not depressed because they lost things. They are depressed because people they trusted did them the worst things. People today going through some mental breakdown and going through some problems, internal problems, is because people they felt they could confide in did the worst, did so many things, and sometimes the only resolve was to now stay put to yourself and die in silence. But then we are not looking at that part, right? Because we find out that, oh, it's not an excuse. But then are you going to also invalidate the emotional trauma? Do you know what it is to have opened up something to somebody and then the next day you're hearing that, oh, what you said had leaked, or so had happened, or this, and before you know it, you're traumatized because your only mistake was you wanted to talk when you could have just maybe prayed or disciplined yourself. So sometimes saying hi is quite risky. It's risky because we are now judging with the past. Look at this person. He said hi, and that was the beginning of his downfall. Look at that business. Look at this person that was good and doing well, smart and everything. The moment the person welcomed another person into his or her life, that was when everything started dwindling down. Look at this person too. Imagine how more introverted he or she was, and when they now finally decided to open up, see how wild they turned into. Look at this person, how spiritual or whatever they were, but because they said hi to some certain friends, they turned into something else. So you see that it's quite risky. It's very, very risky, because sometimes you need to know yourself. What's your tolerance level? If you say hi to some certain persons, apart from rejection, the people you're saying hi to what extent can they hold you? To what extent can they accommodate you? To what extent can they uphold you, your values, your morals, the conversations you have, everything? That's the real deal there. Not just by creating networks. It's not just by creating networks alone. It's like how much can the people you open to, how much of you can they uphold and accept and bond and build and everything with. But then we don't ask these questions because you who's trying to open up, you know that you're not opening up because of you're battling with inferiority complex or you cannot live alone. These two are not there. But you open up because you want to believe that there is more knowledge in the wider spectrum. You learn more when when you have diverse knowledge about so many things. Quite all right. But then at some point in your conversation, if the person you're conversing to now begins to see you as a challenge, how then do you still incorporate that friendship? There are some conversations you'll be having, and then the person you're talking to is already seeing you as a challenge. Oh, it seems you know too much. Oh, it seems you are bigger than me. Oh, it seems and you begin to see resentment, you begin to see jealousy, you begin to see, why then did you start the conversation? If you knew how it would turn out to be a challenge, if you knew you could not uphold me, if you knew you could not take much of me, it's beyond all these things. And I would summarize by saying that, look, if you know keeping quiet could help you, if you know staying on your lane can help you, it's best you stay on your lane. Because sometimes when you begin to talk, you are pouring into some persons and you're becoming empty. Because not everybody you pour into will pour back into you. And that's one very, very deficiency in today's conversation or in today's communication. Not everybody you pour into pours back to you. So why don't you just uphold yourself and keep building in your silence? Keep building in everything that makes you you. You don't need to tell everybody everything. You don't need to open up. You don't need to smile. If you know your goal, work hard towards it and get it. And don't assume you need a crowd. Don't assume you need a village to be a billionaire, a trillionaire, a business tycoon or anything.
I love what you said, right? I love what you said. And from the way you're speaking, it's obvious that you're not talking from theory or what you heard. You're talking from pure, raw experience.
Life.
Life, exactly. But what I'll just tell you is just one thing, man. Look on the bright side. Always look on the bright side. Always be positive. You told me this thing one day. Always be. Listen, yes, in as much as yes, you can say that there are people that things were going well for them, and it was a single conversation they had that ruined their life. Now, are you also going to forget that there are people that nothing was going well for them, but it was also a single conversation that elevated and amplified their life? Like, don't base the future on the past. In as much as yes, this kind of thing did happen in the past, don't base it on the future, because because like life is not like a straight line. I don't know what shape it is, but I'm sure it's not a straight line. And whatever happened in the past has nothing to do with what will happen in the future. A girl that you want, let's say a girl that, let's say I met her and I told her, oh, you look good and I would like to get to know you, and she once turned me down. It doesn't mean that if I tell it to another girl at a different setting, at a different place, it doesn't mean that she'll turn me down. But I might not do it because I am afraid of what happened in the past. And it is this same fear of what happened in the past happening again that scares the shit out of many people.
Which
And
is valid.
it's not valid. It is stopping you from achieving some kind. No, listen. It is stopping you from achieving some certain kind of things. Like it means that your past is still holding you down.
But did the past did it not happen?
No, listen.
Did the
Yes,
past not
yes.
happen?
I believe in learning. I believe in learning from the past, but at the same time, there's difference between, like, you can learn and gain knowledge, but at the same time, don't think you can't gain experience from the past. You can only gain knowledge from the past. So because a girl turned you down in the past, now you now have knowledge that some girls turn you down. It does not mean that the next girl you ask will turn you down again. But let's say you are afraid and this one and that one and that one, so you choose not to ask the girl out. So like I feel like we should look more on the bright side rather than looking at all the devilish and demonic things that, I mean, imagine I came to this school. I didn't know anybody, right? I'm an introvert. I didn't know anybody, reserved guy. Imagine like Tony being my roommate. I never say the word to him, just what's up, hi, all this thing, and then I'm doing that, I'm grinding with my phone. We wouldn't have started this podcast. So like sometimes some very very good things, some very good things, and some things that can end up lasting for a lifetime, because this podcast is not going to end it. It's not going to end this year. It's not going to end this year. I feel like this podcast is going to, by the grace of God, it's going to, 10 years from now you're still going to see this podcast. So like things that can go on for a lifetime can start from somewhere as small as saying hi. I feel like we should just learn to look more on the bright side. I mean, yes, you did make very valid points, but all your
Permit,
points were based on looking on the negative side of saying hi.
permit me to add.
Yes, you can add.
When I was making my first point, I said something about you have to evaluate yourself first.
Mm.
If you're the type that, aside from being introverted, you have a theme for building, you love to build, maybe an industry, maybe something, huge. You just have that poise for, startups, and the startup, like, you just want to do something.
Yeah.
Obviously, you'll be cheating yourself. Because there is an innate gift that you are using your self, your um your nature to hide, to diminish. If I look at myself and I know that, oh, I have a business mind, I want to feed people, I want to solve people's problem, I want to do XYZ to people in the long run. But then my only disadvantage is I don't know how to say hi. I will be cheating myself. But I'm talking about people who they know that they can, even the business, they are well grounded. Maybe they come from a family of business persons, so they've observed from different generations how businesses are done. Maybe they've been exposed and all that. So they know that this business is something they can build. All they need to do is to probably post on their status, post on LinkedIn, post on socials. Those sort of people, their best friend will probably be social media. That's where they do adverts. They might not necessarily walk up to people. That is the second part of people I'm talking about now. They might not necessarily walk up to people. They just need to post their craft and people see it, they engage, they like the partner. But the first phase of people who know that they have this thing but they are not exposed to it will obviously need partnership, tutoring, or mentorship. That starts by saying hello. So I am going back by saying that you have to first evaluate yourself. If you must be introverted, also observe your innate skill. What do you have passion for? Your introvertedness is not a bad thing, but what, because you are not created empty as a human being. If you've observed and then you can see within yourself that, look, there is something you can do, there is a problem you need to solve, there's something that bothers you that is a general problem and you love to do it. For that kind of person, the best thing you can do to and for yourself is nothing but speaking up, breaking out, seeking knowledge, reading books, going for webinars or seminars or anything. But when you understand that, okay, you've had prior knowledge, you understand how it is, you were groomed in this and that and all that, best believe you actually do not need to say hi to people. You can just do your thing on social media and then people will see it and then maybe anything takes off from there. But I'm saying now that, look at it, you are speaking about the bright side. Yes, there is definitely a bright side. That's why I said something also to that. Depression, people with mental illness, and yet all those kind of things, majority of them fall into those things because of this same problem of saying hi. They were not like that. And yes, there are people who they were whoever they were, and then when they start talking to people, they became who they are. Quite all right. But it's more or less like we are putting them side by side. Nothing is overshadowing anyone here. As we have 50% for the bad side, we have 50% for the good side. I don't believe that the brighter side overshadows the bad side, because I personally have gotten into trouble. And I know there are a whole lot of persons too that have gotten into trouble because you allow people into yourself. Too many people into yourself. Broken, insulted, accused, lied against, you name it. It has happened. It is real. It is happening. But what are we saying in the long run? We are saying that, look, you need to first of all know yourself. If you want to be introverted, if you know you must say hi, let it come with a purpose. Let it come with a purpose. Don't just have conversations with people. Let it come with a purpose. Oh, you've seen this person. Maybe you've come across the person's book. Maybe you've heard about the person's craft. Maybe you know who this person is. Then go ahead and say hi and get established. But if you know that, look, you're better off alone building your thing, and you have the technical know-how, you've read books, you're exposed, you can do your thing too without saying hi. So you need to understand who you are first and how fragile your ideas is, because there's some persons that the death of what they had came by saying hello. Their vision, everything died when they said hello to that person. So, and there are also people who everything about them said boom and they became everything they are by saying hello. But then there are some persons that their ideas were too fragile, they themselves were too fragile, and that was how they lost it. So if you must say hi to somebody, don't just base it on friendship basis. Come with a purpose. I tell people, if you must come into my DM, don't come with the shamble hello, good morning. Then and that what? People will tell you pump and plain, go straight to the point. What do you want? Don't just come and start boring me with hello, hi, good morning, and that's what? Because I gave you my number or because you picked up my number from somewhere else. If you must say something to somebody, if you must say hello to somebody, let it come with a purpose. Friendship can come in between, but let it come with a purpose. Probably you've seen that this person is working in a party you would love to walk into. Fine and good. Maybe you've understood that what this person is carrying or what this person has become is something you have eyes for. Good and fine. But please, let it come with a purpose.
I am more comfortable with your last point, which is saying hi or hello with a purpose. I feel yes, that one it's actually a more solid and you know compromised ground between what both of us are trying to say. I mean, on the other hand, I was like, okay, just say hi irrespective of or you're coming from. Okay, if you're going to say hi, say it to purpose, which is I feel like which is my biggest takeaway from this conversation, which is something I'll start implementing because I'm always the kind of person that just I always want to put myself out there because I know that I'm not good at putting myself out there, being uncomfortable and all those type of things. So, but I feel like yeah, moving with the purpose beats anything. I would like to like add one last thing to this conversation. There was a podcast I was listening to, and they were talking about the effects of ChatGPT and AI on our brain. And they say that people are losing the ability to do critical thinking, problem solving, etc. because of ChatGPT. And then they were saying that it is a problem, but then I was outside the conversation, so I was seeing an angle they were not seeing, and I was asking myself, is it really a problem though? I mean, like, ask yourself, like, is there still need for people to think critically when
Mm,
these things has been made?
mm,
Which now, like, which can also be valid for this conversation of thing, like, which is there still need for people to talk to each other?
mm,
Right? Is this still like in as much as I understand what that woman was trying to say about social atrophy and how if you don't use your social skills you lose it. But then again, I feel like I was just asking like, okay, yes, I don't understand what she's saying. Very valid point, very beautiful point. But with the kind of world that we are going into now, with the kind of era that humanity is going into, like, is there still need for you to talk with the person sitting down beside you? Is there still need for you to
mm.
introduce yourself to the person across the table? So yeah, it's just a thought that I had on my mind, and
I would just say something to about that and
yeah,
wrap it up. You see, this is just the crux of everything we've been discussing. They've created AI, ChatGPT, Grok, you name it, that helps in critical thinking. And critical thinking is one of the powerful social skill man needs, even organizational skill in companies. People don't just hire graduates, people hire critical thinkers, people who are problem solvers, people who are innovative in their thought. But now we have so many platforms that does the work of humans. Now the question is your question. In view of all this, has it done more harm than good? Is it helping? Would people still need to do the things they have their cognitive ability to do? Would it reduce the cognitive ability of humans? Would it now depreciate on all of all this? You see, the question is, it does not in any way affect you reaching out or introducing yourself to anybody. It does not reduce anything about anybody about no. Even if ChatGPT and everything is still there. If you are good, you are good. Once you know your onions, nothing will replace you. If you are excellent in your craft, you would always stand out. It's a fact. So if you're good, you are good. I've had times whereby I've had to use most of these things, Chat GPT,
mm,
OpenAI, all those things, and I've also seen the inefficiency in those things. Yes, I've seen the inefficiency, but many of them you have to be so explicit in what you want for them to answer you. But you can say something random and I can give you two, three expressions of what you might probably mean from my head.
mm,
That's it. So they've not totally taken over everything. It's if you feel they've taken over everything, then fine. But I can tell you that it does not in any way reduce social skill of human. You can still work up. If I have issues with anything I am working on or I need to work on, I would still reach out. I will still ask questions, whether there's AI or not. I will still reach out because somebody who is already in that craft and doing well is way better than a mercenary that just gives me words over speech. It's different. If I want to go into something now and I know somebody that is not just only into that thing but is doing well at it, instead of soliciting to something that just give me word over speech or text over speech knowledge, I go to you because you know the technical know-how. You are better at it. So it has not in any way reduced anything. It has not in any way hampered anything. It has even given you the ground to be more competitive as a person. So you have to now tell yourself, if you are in a table and then somebody wants to introduce something and say, oh, I know, but just look up AI and this, it does not. You tell the person, you know what, I am a this, I am a that, I have years of experience in this, I'm a this, I'm a that. Oh, prove it. And then you do prove it. And they invite you over the table and then they give you some certain questions and then you're able to resolve and think passionately and do it. That is the best. I will summarize with this quickly. I was speaking with somebody one time like that. We wanted to start up a fashion brand together. And then whilst we're looking at the cost, I found out that the inefficiency of the document was that most of the documents he was writing were from AI. So AI would just type, okay, how do you propose this? How do you propose that? And then it will give it to him. So he compiled and sent to me. I was like, these speech are too good to be true. Are you really real about what it is you are saying? And I said, yes, that is how it's going to work, that he has planned it, he has done this, he has done that. I said, okay, let's talk about the figures. What do we do about the figures? How do you want to make money? And I found out that there were inefficiencies. He had issues because he was not decisive about the figures. But if it's about letter and all those right, he gave it. So I could picture it that it is we that are just giving over reliance to these things. They are not helping us. They are just there to just as a push, but they're not the real help. You and I are the real help to today's problem. If we don't solve it, AI cannot. AI will only give you a guess or a push to what you would solve. So to me, if you must introduce yourself as somebody that knows and is ready to solve a problem, not as somebody who is miniature or a mediocre or something else. I would end with that.
Honestly, I was skeptical to do the podcast today, but conversations like these are what motivates me and keep me going to continue this podcast. So thank you so much for that beautiful perspective of yours.
Pleasure.
It was very nice having you on the show.
Thank you.